Hey, it's Mazzy here. Welcome back. Mind Games of Vinyl. Vinyl versus vinyl versus vinyl versus vinyl with a vinyl. I wanted to compare vinyl copies of this album, the new deluxe remix, going back to my original pressings. Now, I'll go through these. I have my original American US pressing from 1973. This is literally the first week it came out. Also, that first week when I got it from the UK, an original UK pressing here. I'm not going to showcase this in terms of listening, but this is an 80s version. I just love it because it's a hype sticker. When it was a budget release, when Capitol changed the serial number, made it a budget release, you could get 5 records for $20. What a deal back then, but I have that in my collection. Then this is a new acquisition of me. This is the MoFi. I believe this came out in 2002 or 2003. Now this contains the remix that up till this point was only available, I think, a year before on compact disc. It needed a remix. This was done. I didn't even know it came out on vinyl when I did my initial overview of the Mind Games CD Blu-ray box set. A lot of the viewers in the comments said, well, wait a second, there was a vinyl version of that on MoFi, and I seeked this out, I got it. So this is the 2002 remix on vinyl, only available on this Mobile Fidelity edition right there. And I have been listening to that quite a bit. And of course, the 2 LP version of the deluxe ultimate, the ultimate remix, I should say, that has a second disc of demos, outtakes, alternate versions, which is kind of cool. That alone is worth the price here. And I'll go through these because I've been hearing a lot of discussion about vinyl on this, and people who are into vinyl, and that's my primary source, even though I do listen to CDs. It's my primary source. Now, as I showed when I did my original video, this is the original US version, and I have in here, this didn't come with it, but this came out when I worked in a record store. So I have my original promo Slick. Again, didn't come in the album, but I slipped it in from 1973 when our store got this. Now, I've said this many times, and if you've been following other videos and read the forums, I was so upset about the mix on this when it came out. And I wasn't thinking about mixes in those days when I was 19 years old, about records, but whatever it was, this record, when it came in the store and I plopped it on the turntable in the store, and then of course subsequently brought it home to listen to, was always muddy. It's like, what went wrong? What went wrong? What was in the mind of John Lennon here and company when they mixed this record? It has that veil, it has that blanket sound over it. It's not dynamic at all. You know, there's some great songs on this album, and I think it contributed to the dislike by a lot of people of this album. You know, this has some of the best studio musicians of the day of New York on this, and they all get lost in this muddy mix. You know, the bass, the highs, the reverb drenched that John liked quite a bit. You know, his choice, he heard the mix, and this is how it came out. This copy is my original copy, and all my records are in really good shape. This is somewhat noisy too. Now, when the songs start, you don't really hear it's between tracks, and on the quiet tracks that open up with acoustic guitar. So this is a noisy pressing as well from 1973. What is that? The tail end of the oil crisis. So that can contribute to the kind of vinyl was used, but it's not a quiet pressing at all. You know, you always think, but you go to the UK and you get better pressings. Now, this is a better pressing. It's still not super quiet. There's a little noise in this. This is the UK original first pressing. It has the same insert of lyrics, but it's kind of the nice, heavier stock of the time, where you get the thinner covers at the time here. Everything else is pretty much exact. Now, it sounds same. It's still muddy, but there is a slight improvement on this. I don't know why, but even though when you think about it, you know, people always talk about country of origin as the pressing you need to get. He recorded this in New York. This is probably cut and everything done in New York. So in theory, the American copy should be the better one, but the UK copy is better, but just marginally better, not much better. It still has that veil. There's no dynamics. You know, good songs, again, that got lost because of the mix. Maybe in those days in 73, 74, people really didn't care about the mix. They just wanted the song. But there's something, you know, in this, the sound of this, that is not good. As I said, I'm not going to play this. This is probably just a later cut of the American, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever listened to this one. This is the 70s into the 80s when I was collecting Beatle, different cover variations, catalog numbers, things. Now, I said in that last video, the CD remix that came out in 2002 was so superior than any other version. Superior than the original CDs, far superior than the original LP album. The mix took away that veil, and this makes it even better. The MoFi here is excellent. Now, I was surprised. It wasn't totally quiet. There was, in some ways, more noise. Now, it could have been this specific copy, again, from 2004. Some noise on it. But when the record is playing, this sounded really good. Now, between this and the originals, the MoFi is killer. This is really good. The mix is faithful to the original, so it's not a huge change-up. Yoko and team worked on this at the time in 2002, and that compact disc was short-lived because once they did the additional Lennon box and everything, they reverted to the original mix. I'm not quite sure why, because this is excellent. I tracked this down online. It wasn't crazy expensive. I suggest after this video, there might be few left, but I would say this is a good alternative if you like the original mix with the saxophones not taken out, like on the new mix. This is an excellent choice. I just love listening to this. And a couple weeks ago when I did that comparison, I did listen to the CD remix, which again is better than the originals, but the vinyl version is even better than the compact disc. So if you like the original version with the saxophone, keeping faithful to the original, but cleaning it up, a little less reverb, not much less. It's still got that reverb. You got the great vocals. The bass does come up. Gordon Edwards' bass playing is wonderful on here. But still, I think there are issues in the mix. And I will say that my favorite still is this new Ultimate remix. Now, this is a subjective, obviously when I state my opinion, I heard online and other videos in the forums that people are getting this Presta GZ in the Czech Republic, noisy, dirty copies. And I don't usually watch videos that I'm going to do later. I wasn't sure I was going to do this video, but when I found the original Master MoFi edition, I thought I got to do this comparison. I'm really fortunate. Mine is spot clean. This is a perfectly pressed record. No fingerprints, no, you know, I got lucky, I guess. I've heard that a lot of people in the GZ pressings aren't so lucky. I have an MC cart, which is very forgiving. This is the quietest of all the copies, ironically, with all the talk I hear about GZ press. Now, I would suggest, I wish Sean and company and the Lennon people would go elsewhere. RTI in California, there's a new Fidelity. Mobile Fidelity is a new pressing plant. And the things I've been getting from the MoFi copies, and they do press for other companies, are really well-pressed copies. Michael Fremer has a whole video, a tour of that plant. So I know, I'm sure Universal has deals and they have pressing time with GZ, but I wish they would have this. Now, I haven't listened to all the copies yet in the massive cube, so that is not included here, because I know someone's going to ask. But this was dead quiet. Now, as I said in that other video, this is the ultimate remix according to Sean Lennon, and this is how he sees it should be now. Now, you know, we all should like what we like. I like this a lot. I love John Lennon's vocals are really somewhat more in the forefront. And having more John Lennon's vocals, to me, is always a good thing. This is more dynamic than all the other copies. Maybe the MoFi comes close, but you hear the beautiful acoustic guitars on songs like, You Are Here, Out of the Blue, excuse me, Out of the Blue, the great kind of the slide guitar, the pedal steel on You Are Here. Mind Games, It's Not As Muddy. John's voice is above. But you also get a great thing of Gordon Edwards as bass player. There is more bottom on this. I've heard some people say, you got to turn off your subwoofers. Well, I don't have subwoofers. I don't like subwoofers on stereo. To me, subwoofers are for when you have surround explosions for movies. But I understand when people have smaller listening spaces, they have, you know, bookshelf speakers, they want to get more bottom, so they use the subwoofer to augment the bottom. Totally understand and appreciate that. But there is bottom bass on this album. I've also read some people saying, oh, the bottom is excruciating, it's unlistenable. I don't agree with that at all. And I love, you hear the beautiful piano playing, you hear all these great musicians, and it's very dynamic. And it's not that they're isolated, like everything is separate, but you hear more of the instrumentations of the individual instruments, which I don't always like, but it's brought together in a cohesive manner that is just very wonderful in stereo separation, in my room at least. And I just really like that. Yes, John's vocals are up. The harmonies are beautiful. Now, I think the main thing that some people get upset about who don't like this artistic decision after the fact is One Day at a Time, that saxophone solo towards the end and the end. It's completely gone. So if that's something that is a deal breaker for you, get the MoFi. That is closer to the original thing. But this is an album, in my opinion, needed a major overhaul and a major remix. And Sean and company really took artistic license and really went for it. They didn't like just tweak it to make it a little better here and there. You know, they overhauled this record. And I think this is one you needed to rebuild the engine of this album, because the songs are good. All these people, you know, I've read the comments in all my videos. I haven't responded to everyone, but I read the comments. And, you know, there's a number of comments saying that Turkey doesn't deserve a big box, doesn't deserve it. It's terrible songs of Lennon. I disagree. The songs are really well-written songs that got lost. And 50 years on, I think it's embedded in a lot of people that these are terrible John Lennon songs. I totally disagree. And this is my video, so in this case, I'm right, and you over there are wrong. This is the John Lennon double record version. And again, just to remind you, the second disc are the outtakes, and you have various takes of all the records. So you have all the songs in order, recreating the album just with outtakes, and I think that is a wonderful presentation on this. Of course, if you're a fan of this record, you can go with the deluxe that has the element mixes, but that's not what this is about. And I like the sound of the vinyl. I think it's more dynamic. I like it better than the sound of the CDs. Now, I'm a CD fan. I have a good CD transport Oppo setup, and I like it, and it sounds good. The Blu-rays sound fantastic. There's something in vinyl, and the cliche is the warmth in vinyl. There's something that vinyl adds to it. And if you have a good pressing and a quiet pressing, this is great. Yes, it's deeper in some cases. I think the mid-tones are really great here. Again, with the MoFi too. So the MoFi is excellent. I would skip an original copy. I would skip an original UK or US copy and find a copy of the MoFi if you really want to stick to the closest to original mix. This is remixed faithfully to the original album. The new ultimate mix is totally kind of reworked from my point of view, from my opinion, and it's an excellent record. You know, depending on your system, depending on your ears, depending on your taste, this is successful. And fortunately, luckily for me, my pressing is quiet and really a beautiful pressing. The quietest of all of them. I would have expected the MoFi, but I did get the MoFi secondhand, so who knows what the original owner was playing that on. So that's it. Mind Games. I'm off of Mind Games for a while. We're on to something else. More new music, more things coming through here on the channel. Thanks for watching. Mazzy loves you.